Webo.ai is designed to deliver enterprise-grade AI testing as a service specifically for the needs of the mid-market and startups. Webo AI is flexible, it's affordable, it's scalable as your application grows from alpha, beta to MVP. So in terms of the format of our conversation today, Travis, having experienced Webomates, we're going to cast him as embracing AI in test automation. Are dev managers de facto QA?
Hell no. In the world of Agile and DevOps, it undermines the team self-organization and the fact that the team needs to own their work and deliver that quality. And the responsibility of the development manager is not to provide oversight. That's too late. There's no way we should waste the talents of people who can find high levels of abstract detail doing that type of repetitive work. It should be automated.
What do dev managers care about with respect to software testing?
I think that the main contribution of development managers is the inputs as well as the outcomes into making sure that happens. And I think that that's where the ChatGPT doesn't really talk about the methods by which those types of metrics are going to be positively impacted by the development manager. And I spoke to that a little bit in my first intervention, that culture is the most important thing in teams. But the teams need to say, my job is to deliver quality. Preferably, if the thing doesn't work in production, then they're going to be highly motivated to make sure that what they put out the door has high quality, because the people who have to suffer the consequences of inattention are them. And so they need to completely absorb that ethos of quality is my job. It's not somebody else's job to bolt quality onto what I do or force me to do it against my will. It needs to be something I embrace and enjoy doing. And the development manager needs to reward that worldview. This is very important. You have Selenium and JMeter, and then there's Webomates and all the various tools. The first set of that traditional world, the Webomates is introducing a very exciting new AI-driven world, but the team really needs to understand how to interact and use this tool effectively to get my job done is something the development manager needs to make sure that they do. You can't just write the tests and walk away. You need to be able to pay attention to the results. And you need to make sure that they're capturing how well strategically are we capturing the metrics, defect escape rates, what are the KPIs we're using to verify, are we getting better at this? Are we producing code with fewer defects that get even into whatever testing apparatus that we're using? Are we making sure that none of that code gets past which environment? And certainly, ideally, none of those defects ever make it into production. Are you measuring all those things? What is measured is what is done. And so the team needs to have a culture not only of recognizing it as the responsibility, but that they need to be paying attention to the metrics and using those to drive concrete changes of team behavior.
How can I solve my software testing problems?
I mean, that's a really big list, and it illustrates that the way that I traditionally solved the problem and was still solving the problem at Comcast when I was at Comcast is using, test cases created manually in test case creation tools. We were using Selenium and Cypress and JMeter and all the various other tools. We were using Cucumber with the Gherkin scripts at a certain point with behavior-driven development, trying to make it so that there was a shorter path between the ways we were using automation, but we were investing a tremendous amount in the programming of that automation. We really were saying, this sucks. It's really expensive. When Webomates, when you guys first came to me in Comcast, I have to admit, I was extremely skeptical. At Education Advanced, I got there and there was no culture of testing at all. It was all being done manually. We had people writing test cases manually and then executing on them with human observation. Once I really understood not only how much the costs were involved in editing the tests and keeping them relevant as the system evolves, especially when you're moving in an agile way where you're changing the system in fundamental ways on a regular basis. You need to be fearless in DevOps and constantly making these changes. Therefore, if you want to automate all your testing, your testing needs to be able to keep up with that fearless release as fast as you can and make sure that your quality is high at the same time as you're doing it. I think in our partnership, I really began to understand how powerful it was to be able to not pay all that money for maintaining a body of thousands of tests that we had created, which is where most of the cost goes. I think that there's so many other places, opportunities to be able to use it to reduce the handoffs and interpret the higher level abstractions that the human should spend their time doing instead of doing this repetitive stuff.
You didn't need to hire massive amounts of teams and training and onboarding and get new infrastructure in place and train a bunch of people on CI/CD methodologies.
I think that it's important that the leader not say, I'm going to buy this product and impose it on the team. It's like, you have to convince the team that the philosophy of what this product is doing and how it can deliver is going to enable them to get their work done, rather than it just be another on the endless list of everything gets shifted to the left. As I've said in some other settings about the tool, it's about the closest thing to magic, in many of these areas that you can get. So embrace that magic and spend your times on the thing that magic can't touch.